Hello, and welcome to the InPowered Women Podcast. This is where we spotlight unstoppable women who are not only excelling in business, but thriving in life, lifting others up, blazing new trails, and making space for the next generation of female leaders. I'm your host, Sharon Lee, and I'm so glad you're joining us today. Hi, and welcome to this episode of the InPowered Women Podcast. I am so happy that you're here today. And before I introduce you to my guest, I'd like to thank our sponsor for today, and that is Shantz Home Improvement. So this is a company I trust and I talk about often because it is the way they treat people. If you're a homeowner in Metro Atlanta and your siding or roof is giving you that not so subtle hint that it needs attention, Shantz is your team. They actually communicate, they educate you through the process, and they're one of few companies that will happily take on a repair, not just full replacements. If you want real answers and options that fit your home and your budget, visit shantzhomeimprovement.com or click the link in the show notes. Okay, so check them out. And with that, I have Rebekah Black here. She is the CEO and founder of Jambos. How are you?
Hello, I'm so good. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course. I am so excited that you're here. So tell everybody what Jambos is.
Okay, so Jambos, we are a nonprofit organization. We provide brand new pajamas to kids experiencing foster care. So we partner with the community to host pajama drives, and we take all those jammies. You can see some of them behind me, but we take all these jammies and we push them out to DFACs, private agencies, and foster clothing closets all over the place.
Well, and you're in this little cubby here, and it looks like, oh, you've got a few rolled here, a few rolled there. But I have a feeling if we panned out and saw your whole warehouse, there might be a few more there.
Yes, we are currently serving anywhere from 14 to 20,000 kids annually. So I saw the number on the board as I went back to my office a little bit ago, and it was right at 14,000 kids so far. And I think we have 6,000 in the pipeline for till the end of the year. So we do a lot of jammies around here. We know what's up at pajama land.
Oh my, and in fact, it's funny. So my son has come over there and volunteered and rolled jammies at one point. And I told him I was going to be interviewing you, and he was like, that's a pretty serious operation over there.
Yeah,
so funny. Yes, it is.
Got it down to a well-oiled machine, I think. So our team is pretty strong. They've got it all squared away. So yeah.
Oh, I think that is so fantastic. Well, and so it's one thing to think about all those jammies going out right now, but let's back up in the process a little bit. So, what in the world made you think jammies, and like, where did this idea come from?
Right. Yeah. So that's always like the first question people want to know, like, how did you think of this? I jokingly say like Jambos is like the Post-it note of nonprofits, because like, why didn't everybody think of this? Like, it's like, right.
Right.
But there's kind of two parts of this. When I was a young girl, I overheard my parents kind of dreaming up creating a pajama company, where like a retailer. They were interested in designing pajamas, and they had this kind of fun pajama idea. My mom and dad always gave us Christmas pajamas as a kid. Pajamas have always just kind of been like a sweet, comfy thing. And I think that's true for a lot of families. It's not just ours, but like they were kind of like a staple gift, And so that kind of always stayed in the side of my head. But then when I was about 14, 15 years old, I served in an orphanage in Kingston, Jamaica, and Montego Bay, Jamaica. And we had a chance to really get a front row seat to see what it looks like for kids to really need a resource burden. In a developing country, that's obvious. Like, I think we all can kind of agree, like, okay, I would expect that. But then to know on stateside, here in the US, like there are 400,000 kids in foster care who are experiencing that same resource burden. So the magic sauce just kind of came together, and it was like, I want to serve kids in foster care. I have a heartbeat for kids in the orphan care space. Like, what can I do? And so the story we'll probably unpack a bit more in a minute, but I went to DFACs and asked them, what do you need? And they kept saying, we need new pajamas. And I was like, yes, I can do that. I wanted to foster. I wanted to have kids in my home, but I'm a single mom with 3 daughters. And it was like, I don't know if that's the best next step for me, but what can I do? Mentality really has gotten us to where we are. So yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love this this story. And so, and and you mentioned going to Jamaica, but you have been all over the world, right? Doing different types of missions. So talk about some of the places that you've been and some of where you've given back.
Yeah, I'm from a really tiny town in like the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains in Eastern Kentucky. And my parents always just kind of encouraged us to see the world. It wasn't always like move away, but it was always like make
Right.
sure that you go and serve people and engage other cultures and learn like from people. And so I was 12 years old building a house in Tijuana, Mexico with my sister and my dad, which was crazy, sleeping in a bull ring under like the stars. It's nuts. We did Kingston, Jamaica as a family, Montego Bay. I worked in London at a vacation Bible school. And then I always had a heart to go to Africa. I wanted to go to Kenya so bad. And finally got the opportunity to do that. And then that's where the yarn string got pulled. And now everything is different for me. Kenya changed everything for me. And so I spent a lot of time in Kenya. I was in Uganda, and I've just fallen in love with Africa. So, yep, those
I
are
love
my
it.
spots.
Well, and I love the fact that when we first met, that we were talking about, what do you do when you have one of those, really bad days? And so we decided that our safe word was going to be Kenya. And if I was having that bad day, I was just going to text you in all caps, Kenya. And we've just kept with that. And I love it.
It's becoming my personality trait. I think it's like, it's what I love. I love to go there. It takes a whole day to fly and get landed in Nairobi, but it's slowly becoming like pajamas, Africa. I'm a mom. Like those are all the things that are starting to kind of define me. So I like it. Mm-hmm.
I think that is so fantastic. So, all right. So when you were in Kenya, tell us a little bit about what you saw. I mean,
yeah. So when I had the opportunity to lead 9 college girls, 19 to 21 years old, you can imagine it kind of felt like Atlanta Barbie was going to Africa. We were taking all these girls to Kenya, and they needed someone to lead the trip, and they came to me asking if I would lead the trip. And I'm like, I don't have the money to do this. Like, I can't go to Africa. I can barely go to Kroger, like what? And so they were like, no, we're in dire need of a female leader to take these women. And so, okay, I'll do it. And so they were able to sponsor me and send me. And my prayer when we got there, it was more of like a cultural trip where you go and engage the community. We were very embedded in the Maasai community or the Maasai tribe. And we had an opportunity to just get, shoulder to shoulder with differences and uniquenesses that we'd never experienced before. And then we wanted to share the gospel and love on moms and kids. And okay, great. But my prayer was, let us serve the women really well. And God, show me what you have next for me. Do not pray that if you're not ready for him to do it. Okay. And so while we were there, I really began to realize like God had something next for me. I was in full-time ministry. I had left a corporate setting, go into ministry. And I thought I had hit the sweet spot. Like, oh, I'm in ministry, Lord. Isn't that enough? Like I work at a church. Like what else do you want? But then while we were there, it was just like evidence to me that I was going to come back and really do what he called me to years and years and years ago. And that was serve kids in foster care or infant rescue center, orphan care. So I came home from that trip, and I was just ready. And I said before, I'm a single mom. I had $12 in my bank account, and I went into my boss's office and quit my job. Mm-hmm. Do as I say, don't do as I do.
Exactly.
but I knew I was taking a salary from the church. But in my mind and in my heart and soul, like I'm called to something different. There was a conviction there. Maybe I was sitting in someone's dream job seat and this wasn't for me. I just was like, I'm convicted by this. And so in their kindness, I went to the executive pastor and I was like, I'm resigning. And he's looking at me like, huh? And I'm like, I know it's crazy. I didn't have a plan. I did not know what I was doing. I wasn't an entrepreneur. I didn't know. But I knew that I was called and I knew I had to be obedient. So I came home and quit my job. And that was the beginning of Jambos.
And so, okay, $12 in your bank account, no job at this point. You have a great vision, a great idea. And at that point, you had already spoken with DFACS. I mean, so you had No. So that was your first step,
Yeah.
I'm guessing, right?
My
Just to get
first
the lay of the
step,
land.
right. My first step was jump completely out of the airplane and hope and pray to God there's a parachute somewhere. Like it's like, okay, I'll just jump. Yay, So no, I didn't. I had a very few interactions with outside of like sponsoring a child from the angel tree at church, or I had very few interactions with the Department of Family and Child Services. I didn't understand the foster care system. I just knew I cared about it. And what can I do was really the heartbeat for me. And so I walked out of his office and I went straight to lunch with the director, the regional director for our county. And I was like, what do you need? I want to foster. I shouldn't, and I really couldn't in that season. And but I want to help. And she was like, honestly, kids need resources like pajamas. And I was like, I can do that.
Stop right there.
I can do that. And I was like, okay. And that was the beginning. So I was in a small group of women at my church, and it was right around holiday season. And I was like, let's not exchange the scented candle and Bath and Body Works, and let's just get pajamas. And we collected 223 pairs of pajamas. There were
Wow.
8 of us, 9 of us. And I remember a mentor of mine, like later down, like 6, 8 months later, said to me, what are you going to do when this works? And I was like,
Oh, what a great
right?
question.
I was like, I have no idea. I was like, wait, it's going to work? You think it can work?
You did the same thing I did yesterday. I have no idea.
Right. I'm like, I guess I should come up with a plan. And from there, it really did snowball. And I mean, I make that sound like it just blew up overnight. It did not. Right. But it snowballed. And one of the women in that group wanted to do a drive, and it just kept happening. So
what was the time frame of that?
So that was in 17, like November-ish, 17. And then I guess, no, 17. And then that following year is when we got our 501. It was in like March. I was able to get our 501 established and that sort of thing. But I wanted, honest to goodness, I am so serious. All I wanted to do was serve the kids in our county. In that season, we had 843 kids in the Gwinnett County foster care system in our region. So it's usually a couple of counties bundled together. And that's what the lady told me. And I was like, well, that's 1,000 people. That's 1,000 kids. If I can serve 1,000 kids a year, that would be incredible. Like,
right.
Okay. I was like, okay, I have a goal, 843 kids. Let's go do it. And in year one, we served 5,500 kids.
Whoa.
I know. And it was literally regular schmegular people that just wanted to give a little more, do a little more for their community. And that's how we got here.
And I think everybody can understand exactly what you said about, you've got a child that's displaced, and what is that thing that's at least going to give them comfort? And jammies are the thing. And I also know that, when I'm thinking about that, I'm thinking about these little ones, like what is right behind you. And you think, okay, you think about the preschool or the toddlers or babies or whatever, but you're serving all ages, right?
Yes. So we collect 44 different sizes, boys and girls. So there's 88 SKUs. And we have preemie, biddy, 0 to 3 months. And those are so cute, and the little unicorns and zippers. It's just, but then also we go all the way up to men's 2X. Because you think about, I mean, I was a senior in high school. I'm 5'11". Like I'm an adult, and so I'm like, okay, well, a lot of the kids that we're serving are in, over the age of 13. So we've learned a lot about the foster care system along the way. And we've learned even just recently that 25% of kids in care are over the age of 13. And so that's a good number of kids that we're really going to be intentional about serving, but we don't want to leave them out. And that's very common. Teenager pajamas are the first ones requested, but the last ones received.
Right.
And so, not to go off on a tangent, but our upcoming goals are to really shine a light on teenagers in foster care. How can we serve them well, let them feel seen and be known, and that sort of thing. So that's where we're going next.
Well, I mean, I think it's great. And, for a person that says I'm on the non-plan plan, I love that you have these goals, and these are attainable goals. These are not just, oh, well, we want to serve the world. I mean, these are things that I want to start with this county. I want to go farther, but now, so on average, how do they get distributed? Because when you're talking about a good number of jammies.
Yeah.
It's not like you just are throwing them in the back of a pickup truck and heading out. Like, what do you do?
Correct. So initially it was, I was driving to different counties and it was in my living room. This whole operation was happening in my living room, and my garage was just pajamas everywhere. And now that we're serving at the level that we're serving, we've engaged so many volunteers. We've created things like our fleet team. We have a fleet of individuals that sign up and they say, hey, maybe your son plays travel ball and you're like, we're going to Valdosta this weekend. And can we stop on Friday and drop them at the DFACS office in that area? And so we have a whole sign up for people to volunteer that way. But we have partnered really closely with DHS, which is the Department of Health Human Services. Like they're like all over the whole state. And now they're a megaphone for us to DFACS, which is an arm of DHS.
Okay.
And so they're saying to DFACS, hey, these people at Jambos want to give you for free brand new pajamas. All you have to do is register. And that has opened a can of worms that I am so happy about. So I think it's 150-ish counties, all 150-ish counties are making requests. And we have a really strong relationship with UPS. They're giving us a great, I don't want to say discount, but they're granting us a great account. And they're backing the UPS truck in and they'll take them out if they're too far. And it's a sweet, sweet operation. It's really fun. Yeah.
So when you're talking about those, the department, the DHS, and you're talking about these counties, this is in Georgia, right? But you also go beyond Georgia, right?
Yeah. So a few years ago, we went viral on TikTok, and on a separate episode, we can talk about when a mini brand goes mega viral and what that does to the infrastructure of your company. I could talk ad nauseum about what that did to our operation. And again,
good and bad. It's not all you think, oh, this is great. This is what I've been waiting for, but it's also, it's not all roses at that point.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, you can't in your annual budget plan for a $70,000 TikTok bath is what I affectionately call it. I'm like, oh, great. And I never want to speak ill of it because it was such a blessing. Like we served 16,000 kids, 4,000 families, 16,000 kids in like 6 weeks. So from December to January, we pushed out more pajamas than we'd ever done. And that created a snowball of things. The warehouse had to be open more. The volunteer shifts had to be managed more. The products, the supplies. I mean, I could go on for days about that. But that's what got us nationwide. We were sending pajamas to Billings, Montana, and Miami, Florida, and Buffalo, New York, and Albuquerque, New Mexico. Like it was like. But one of our core values here at Jambos is relationship. We want to have deep understanding of the people we're serving. And so if we're doing it, well, there's just 3 of us on staff. If we're doing all of that, are we engaging and understanding the pressures of the foster system in Montana? No, I'm not doing it. I'm doing it. Am I doing it well? Sure. But am I doing it great? The components that are important to our core values is like, okay, I can't slip on the relationship piece. And then the whole TikTok thing, I mean, blew up what operation we had. It was like, okay, we got to go back to the drawing board. So in 2025, we brought everything home to the state of Georgia so that we could get our footing. I mean, we were a toddler nonprofit. Like I forget that sometimes, So this year has been all about creating strong relationships with DFACS and DHS, strong CRM platforms. What are we doing for hiring and firing processes? What are we doing? Like that's all important. And we just didn't have the capacity when we were doing all of that to get it nailed down so that hopefully someday we can scale it and there can be Jambos in Charleston, South Carolina, or, Nashville, Tennessee. So,
right. Yeah. Get something to replicate, but you've got to start here.
Correct. And I think that that's something that in the nonprofit space, we want to do it for everybody.
Right.
Big visionary. We've got big hearts, but we also, in order for it to win, we have to have business minds. And so you got to think that way. And sometimes it doesn't feel so good for the big visionary to get small for a second. Like I was kicking and screaming. I was like, no, don't put it on the website. People will think we're not serving people. No.
Right.
Yeah. So I wish I had a big megaphone. Maybe this podcast will take off and people will listen so that they can learn why we did that, but we had to, and we would have suffocated otherwise.
Right. Well, and I think that the bigger picture is that we need you to stay in business, so therefore, if you do have to step back and you have to restructure or whatever you got to do, I think that is fantastic. But now you still are sending some jammies to Kenya, right?
Yes. So every year we do an international effort a couple of times a year. So at one point we sent to Ukraine and Poland when all of the things were happening there. Kids were at unrest. They were being taken from one place over to another place at night. And it was like, oh, we heard those stories. And we were like, send. Then we just partnered with Hearts for Africa, which is in Eswatini, the southern part of the continent. And they have a school there. So we sent almost 500 pieces with those missionaries. And then Kenya, I think January, my friend who is in Kenya will take jammies with her to the Infant Rescue Center. So we always try to just do a little bit more where we can and go outside of our reach a couple times a year. So, yep.
I love it. I love it. Well, I always like to talk a little bit about mentorship.
Yes.
I think that's important for women in business in general, but I also find it doesn't matter whether you're talking men or women in this situation, people have different ideas of what mentorship can be. Some of it is just continuing education. It's more training. It's sending them out to whatever, to this conference to learn more about their trade or whatever it may be. Or maybe it's just, hey, come on with me. I'm going to this networking event. You need to get out there and network or whatever. But for you, what does mentorship mean? And have you experienced it, or are you, tell us a little bit about where you stand with mentorship.
Here's the deal. You cannot do this by yourself.
No.
And your brain can only do so much. I don't care if you're the smartest woman in the room. You're going to need, at the barest minimum, some feedback, right? And this is a very entrepreneurship and nonprofit space is very lonely. Like, I think a lot of people forget how lonely entrepreneurship is.
Right.
I sit in rooms with women that, maybe they work outside the home, maybe they're inside, and like, I don't have anything in common with some of these women. I'm paying the bills at home. I'm paying the bills in my warehouse. I don't have anybody to talk to, and it can be very lonely. So if selfishly, for no other reason, if you get a mentor just to be someone that you can soundbar with and brain dump with, and hey girl, are you all right type of vibes, at the barest minimum, go there. But mentorship for me is I've had people along the way who have poured into me, and without them, Jambos would never be.
Right.
I mean, having Miss Lori, who mentored me for a couple of meetings, she was like, what are you going to do when it works? I would have never thought of that.
Right.
Right. And vice versa. What will you do if it doesn't work? And what will you learn? And so mentorship is so critical. Like, you have to have at least one person in your life that is not necessarily like coaching you, but coaching you,
Right.
And I love to do that for people now, because I had a handful of people that I could, hey, can I yap with you or pick your brain?
Yeah.
But I love to share the successes, the failures, or the learning opportunities. Like, let me help you, help me help you. Like, I love that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
If you don't have a mentor, you need to have one. And you know what, girl, I'll do it for you. So just invite me out. I would love to mentor. But, yeah.
I had somebody ask me one time when, you get stressed out and, you're so close to a situation. And a lot of times you probably don't see it as clearly as someone with an outside lens or something like that. And she said, what is rock bottom?
Yeah.
And, and that puts a lot into perspective, because it's like, even if this initiative doesn't work, it doesn't mean that you have failed. It doesn't mean that you're closing up shop or whatever. It's just this initiative. And so to put those boundaries around that, how much money am I going to put toward this new product? What type of infrastructure am I going to put? And then if that doesn't work, what does that mean? And so I just thought that it was like, and she just threw that out there. What is rock bottom for you? And I'm like, whoa. So, but you need somebody out there, and somebody that'll ask you those hard questions that really make you think, not just going, oh, you're going to make it. You're going to do great, because that does nothing for you, because at the end of the day, you're still stressed out.
Correct. People will, I'm going to have this, my aunt or my cousin or my best friend is my baby. I love those people for you. You have to have those supportive people in your life, but those aren't always your coaches. Those aren't always the people who are peeling back the first layer. They believe in you. You could tell them you're going to run a marathon in the morning. Yes, girl, go get it. And it's like, I've never ran. I don't even know where, So they'll believe in you kind of no matter what. And And that's sweet to have. You need those cheerleaders, but you also need the people who are going to press you a little bit, stretch your muscles, grow your mindset. Those are critical. You have to have that. Yeah.
So let's talk about how you're kind of putting that in action right now, because you are literally wanting to help those people that are trying to put that infrastructure together.
Yeah, I have really had, I guess I've had a ton of women specifically come to me saying, how'd you do that?
Mhm.
I have always wanted to fill the blanks. I've always dreamt of having a business where I blah, 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 blah. And I would love to start, but I just can't. I just can't get started. And honestly, you're in your own way, right? And even with like the mentorship program that I'm wanting to launch and like the coaching I'm wanting to do, I'm a little in my way too. I'm like, I'm over here trying to, promote like, hey, you guys should start your companies. I'm like, I should also start mine. Like, because we're all human, right? But I think like hearing the story of Jambos, seeing the successes and the learning opportunities, like I think that ignites a belief in themselves. And so I love to let people pick my brain. People come to me all the time. Can I pick your brain? And so I've started like a master class where you come in and part of the time together is you're picking my brain. Come with a list of questions and just pelt me with them. And then I also share some of the successful things that have helped me and Jambos along the way. Here are the top 3 things that I would recommend you have in your business. Here are the 3 steps that you need to have in order to have your identity fully like standing on business, as they say.
Right.
So, yeah.
And this isn't just nonprofit either, right? This could be a for-profit business or a nonprofit.
Correct. The thing about, I think people separate them pretty instinctual. Like it's like, oh, well, that's nonprofit and that's for profit. Honestly, it's business.
Right.
And
so true. So true.
I joked I was like a top salesperson in the country when I worked in wireless. Like I won a trip to Hawaii, blah, 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 blah. I was killing it. I could sell ice to Eskimos. Like it was crazy. And I got done with that. And I told my parents, I'm never selling anything ever again. I will never be in sales. Fundraising is really a lot of sales, and I'm selling an impact. I'm inviting people to be. So if you can do it on one, you can do it in the other. It's just a lot of verbiage, but we get through that stuff. But at the root, they're very similar. Yeah.
So is this something that you are planning to do like once a month or on a certain rate basis or something like that?
Yeah. So I had my first one last month. And we had it was a great little class, and we did our little lesson, as I call it, or whatever. But we had a great time of just the banter. I want to create the community. It's not specific to women. It's just kind of the audience that keeps pressing to me. And so, but it was a lot of women in the room with big ideas and how do I execute it? And so it will be monthly. I have one this month coming up, and that's going to be great. But, I'm starting where I have with what I have. And I think that's something that stops a lot of people.
Agreed.
When I started Jambos, I didn't have branded boxes and beautiful business cards and a website. I had heart and grit, and baby, you can't outwork me. And so I really want to encourage the folks who come to the class to just get started. Kind of done.
Well, and I also think that's a difference between, sorry to interrupt you, men and women, because I think that a lot of women truly want every dot dotted, every T crossed, everything thought through. And then, wait a minute, am I really qualified for this? Whereas men are kind of like, hey, let's do it. Let's go. I mean, it does feel like there is a totally different way of thinking. And so it's great that even if you have a story to tell to men that are there, just even being that support network and lifting them up to say, yeah, get out there and just do it.
Get out there and do it. Yeah. I'm 7, almost 8 years into Jambos now, and I still don't have all my T's crossed and my I's dotted. And I still discover something new every day. And that's kind of the fun of entrepreneurship. And you have to kind of be head on a swivel. I'm ready to pivot kind of all the time. Right. And so if you're wanting it to all be laid, it's kind of like, women are listening, right? It's kind of like when you make your birth plan, you know exactly how I'm going to deliver this baby is going to go. And before you know it, it did not go that way.
It did not go that way.
But guess what? You made it, you learned, you adapted, you shifted. And I joke about it, but entrepreneurship and motherhood are very similar.
Right?
All the things in real time, So,
right. Except for motherhood doesn't have that manual that you really, should have had. So anyway. There's that.
I think that being a good entrepreneur makes me a better mom, and being a good mom makes me a better entrepreneur. So
Well
I'm like,
said.
yeah, they're in tandem. I've watched this nonprofit grow from infancy to where we are now, and I'm excited for where she's going. So it's exciting.
Well, okay, that's a really good segue right there. So let's talk about, end of year is coming up.
Yeah.
Let's talk about like what you do as far as December being, a busy big month for you. And then what is the vision for 2026?
Yeah, so quarter four, kind of with any nonprofit, if they're running on this calendar year, quarter four is a lot of people feeling generous. They want to give. The holiday season has the buzz, end of year giving. So a lot of people are maybe doing their tax write-offs, preparing for, the close of the year. So we see especially like late November and December, we see there are days where I will touch every element of the brand in like one day. So like I'm distributing pajamas, collecting a check, hosting volunteers, doing a marketing campaign, and having a lunch with a prospective donor about the gala in 3 months. Like, it's like, oh my God, I'm touching everything. Right.
Yeah.
So honestly, it's like buckle in December. Like everyone, remember the movie Mary Poppins? Were like, post everyone, like just everybody just stay still.
Right.
So yeah. So we have lots of but it also catapults us into 2026, which is coming, and some of those goals and plans that we have for the upcoming year. A big piece for us in the year coming is creating that teen initiative. Jambos is, I jokingly say Jambos is kind of like the Chick-fil-A of nonprofits, because we just do one thing. They're just chicken. You're not going to get tacos, and you're not going to get egg rolls, and you're getting chicken, right? Here, we just do one thing, but we do it really well, and they do it really well. So it's like, we just do pajamas, but there are so many components of the pajamas that we could really shine a light on, be extra hands in the foster community for. And so the Teen Initiative will be a new program that we've kind of laid the groundwork for, but it really needs to be beefed up. So we're going to be on a mission to raise about $100,000 for that, which crazy. And then the next component is making this thing mobile. I have always wanted a mobile warehouse. I dream in different color of navy blue Sprinter vans. All I want is one of those vans that you can open the doors and it's like, oh, pajamas are everywhere. Yep. But I would love for us to be able to take pajamas to the defects office. Families can meet us there and shop our mobile warehouse. We have a lot of opportunity to put this thing on wheels, and I would love for that to happen. So those are 26 goals.
So I was going to ask you about ways people can donate, as well as what are some of your big fundraising opportunities? Because I'm thinking that anybody could, send jammies. They could always send money, but what are some other things that you might not think about?
So of course, like you said, pajamas are obviously a thing. You can volunteer in our warehouse. We have opportunities all year round. This is 365. Like, we do this every day. Obviously the money component, donating on our website, you can become a monthly donor, which we've never written a government grant. We've never had money from the federal funding. We've never had any of that. So all this entire operation happens because regular people just donate monthly. And that's really, really important to getting this mission accomplished. And then we have opportunities throughout the year. So there's obviously our gala, lots of nonprofits host galas, and we have a beautiful time at our gala. And we look for corporations to do sponsorships and individuals that are generous to show up to that. And then golf tournament, that sort of stuff. So there's lots of ways to be a part. It's not always just rolling pajamas or just donating pajamas. But we want to know your gifting. We want to know what you're good at. Maybe it's administrative or events that you're great at. We would love to plug people in.
And you've done some interesting things to get awareness at schools and things like that as well. Am I off the mark there? Is that right?
No, you're hitting it right on.
Okay.
So we partner with schools, churches, gyms, businesses, club ball teams, and the like. We recently did a little friendly competition with some of the high schools in the area, and their honor societies, they can get their community service hours by hosting a donation drive. And so their numbers are coming in now, and one school did 225 pair, and I just got their number in this afternoon at lunch, and I was like, oh my gosh, they're killing it. But we partnered with, we're in the Atlanta area, so Emory Hospital is hosting a huge drive for us, and that type of thing but it has only been because of influence.
Mhm.
So I'm not out here like marketing madness. It's, okay, Sharon loves Jambos. Sharon knows the
Mhm.
CEO of X, Y, and Z, and now she's connected us. And it's literally been a game of chess like that. So I think that that's a good point to make, is like, you don't have to have this elaborate financial contribution. You don't have to have this elaborate amount of pajamas that you've collected. Have a box on your porch and collect a couple pair a week or a month and bring them in.
Mhm.
That matters to us. And
Right.
so I think that kind of stops people too, as they think again that it has to be perfectly packaged and perfectly prepared. And it really just doesn't.
Just doesn't. It
It
just
just
doesn't.
doesn't. Yeah. Mm.
Well, and so I usually will ask what you like to do outside of when you're working and all that. But while we are talking about donations, how do you donate? Like, so I'm
Yeah.
guessing through your website, right?
Of course. So on our website, you can become a monthly donor there. And I started Jambos with $12. This entire organization was birthed out of a $10 bill and two $1 bills. And so when we started the monthly donor program, I was like, I want anybody and everybody to be able to donate.
Mhm.
And I get it. I'm a single mom. I'm not going to be the girl stroking this big check. It's not going to
Mhm.
happen. But
Right.
$10 a month matters. So I
Yep.
started our monthly donor program. You can find that on our website, jambosdonates.org. And that's where you can, you can also, manipulate how much you're giving and that sort of thing. But yeah, our donor platform is there. And then of course, sponsorships, or, hey, our organization or your business wants to sponsor for the year, become a corporate donor. You can do
Mhm.
that. So yeah, it's all on the website. Everything you need is there. Mhm.
All on the website. Well, and two, if somebody does want to reach out to you, if they do want to find out more about your masterclass or
Yep.
pick your brain and all of that, how would somebody get in touch with you?
So on social media platforms, I'm Rebekah Black 101. So you can find me there. You can also email me or jump on, Facebook, Instagram, and find me there. So
Yeah, you're on LinkedIn as
I'm
well.
on LinkedIn as well. I'm such a professional. I'm such a professional.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, I know what I'm doing. Yeah, I try so hard to be good at LinkedIn and I'm just not. And so find me on TikTok, okay?
I love it.
Yeah. And then at the end, maybe I can like give my contact info or something. So
Yes,
there
I'll put
you
that in
go.
our show notes for
Yeah.
sure. And then, but yeah, but for going back to your master class, I know I'm jumping around a little bit. Would they just email you if they're
Yeah.
interested?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have an Eventbrite, and I'll give you the link for the show notes. And for we're going to do December the 12th class. So if you're local to the Atlanta Beaufort area, you're welcome to pop on and get your tickets through the Eventbrite. So
Oh, and this is an in-person
oh yeah.
class.
Oh yeah. Oh
Ooh.
yeah. We have
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like there's so much magic that happens with proximity to people.
True.
And so I'm just a people person anyway. And any reason to bring donuts, please let me do it. So yeah. Yeah.
Good plan. Good plan. Well, this has been such a fun conversation. And it is just so interesting because, you hear about these organizations and you see success, but you really don't see, what the inner workings are and what the inner personalities are. And girlfriend, you got plenty of personality. So it's really fun to get into all of that. But I mean, it's really great. I mean, you're doing great things. And again, it all came out of this $12, a vision, an idea, and grit. Just, I mean, I'm going to do it. And you have. I mean, kudos to you. Well done.
Thank you. It's been, people say, well, that just kind of blew up overnight. And I'm like, it sure would. Oh, but
Just
yeah,
add water.
yeah, I know, just add water. Exactly. But it just has so much favor. Like God has just been so kind to show up for us every single time. And he has a plan for this. And if I just can stay like obedient to what he's called me to, then this is gonna change a lot of lives. And that's the hope. So my dad said to me one time, we hit 100,000 kids. We'd served 100,000 kids. And I called him and I was like, Dad, we served 100,000 kids. And he said, and it like rocked me. He was like, when you get to heaven, there will be 105,000 kids wearing pajamas. And I was like, oh, Yeah, I did. It's like, okay, hold my tears.
I
Like,
know.
wow, that's a good reminder, that
Mm.
maybe we'll be able to show kids a little bit of love and a little bit of Jesus through pajamas. So, yeah.
Oh, well, I can't imagine a better way to wrap this up. I mean, well said. That is just such a thought to leave, and such a way that you're impacting, and I just absolutely love it. So thank you for coming on and telling your
Yeah,
story. And we
yeah.
are just so happy that you are able to just bring so much comfort all over, and kudos. Keep on keeping on.
Thanks, girl. I love it. Thank you for having me. It's so fun to be around you. You're the
Oh,
best.
thank you. All right. Have a
Okay,
good day.
bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Empowered Women. If you enjoyed our conversation, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share so other women leaders can benefit too. I'd love to hear from you. Send your questions, suggestions, or compliments to Sharon at pinnaclestrategicadvisors.net. The Empowered Women podcast is executive produced by me, Sharon Lee. See you next time.